allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the
republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for all men and women overseas and all over, as well as our first responders who put their lives so that we get protected. Thank you. All cell phones on vibrate mode, please. As always, make sure your cell phone is vibrate. Also, any phone calls are to be taken out of the room. Do not take the calls in the room. If you need to speak to somebody, go outside the room, please, so we have a proper meeting. Okay, Jeremy, gallery session.
Thank you.
So everyone, please make sure you speak into the microphones today, all right? We're only using our system and not theirs. As you can see, we have the meeting being recorded, so we got the gallery session. So based on our bylaws, the time is set by the chairman here, so that's 2 minutes.
What happened to
each gallery
3?
session speaker has. You need to speak to one
3
person on
minutes.
the side. But we will start with Brunhilde Sparty from Jacobi Medical Center, or in the issues WHC. Please come up to the microphone. You have 2 minutes. Frano here will, when you have 30 seconds left, he will raise that sign. So pay attention to Frano here, the guy who's speaking right before me.
The one eating.
So he'll raise that sign, and then when your time's up, he'll bang the gavel. And then you can only answer at most 2 questions or respond to 2 comments from the board members, not the gallery, where you're sitting, okay? So I'll turn your mic on. When you're ready, go ahead.
All right. Hello, good evening. My name is Brunhilde Sparty. I am one of the health educators at Jacobi Medical Center at the Department of Women's Health Center. I'm recently new over there, but we're looking forward for collaboration on the community to prevent new disease or for women health and the youth population in our community. We're trying to go to schools to do workshops and prevent this disease on spreading and all ages of women. I don't know what else to say. I am glad to be here today. Thank you for having me. And if you have any questions, please feel free to get in touch with me. I left some flyers in the front desk, and my number is there.
Okay, great. No questions? Grace Lovaglio, regarding buses, parent summit, NYPD commish, and some Canada.
Hi everybody, hope everyone had a great summer. I did, for a change. Okay, quickly. I left some flyers out. I'm on the the UFT parent committee, and we're having our UFT summit. That's going to be November 3rd at 2500 Halsey over there by Commerce. So I left some flyers there. In about a week or so, the link should be up and running, and I'll post that up on Facebook and send it to whoever wants it, or you can just go on Facebook and find it. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Also, there is a, hold on. October 6th, there is a Prepare Your Student for College Success at Fordham University campus from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. This is it's a public event, so if you have children in high school or even middle school, it's never too early. Go to that event. That's it's going to be a good one. Number 3, October 1st, I'm also on the praise team for the Bronx Christian Fellowship Church at 1015 Gun Hill. And Pastor Q English has set up, we're having Commissioner O'Neill come October 1st from 7 o'clock. It's an open forum. If you have questions for the commissioner, you sign up on Eventbrite. I'll put that up on Facebook as well, or send it to Jeremy. October 11th, putting together a candidate forum for governor. I have Larry Sharp confirmed.
Thank you, guys. Questions? No. Thank you. We will move to Manny Martinez, New York Public Library.
They gotta go back to 3 minutes, that's ridiculous.
And then I need to speak to Christian.
Okay, oh, mind the way.
I need to speak to him.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome back from summer. I hope everyone had a wonderful summer. Here representing Pelham Parkway Van Ness Library, Morris Park Library, and the Allison Library. I want to start off by saying we had a successful back-to-school giveaway where we gave away 178 book bags, and we had an attendance of approximately 250 people at our branch this summer for that back-to-school giveaway. Coming up now this Saturday, across all library systems, Saturday the 29th, we're going to be doing fall open houses, which is basically meant to promote the services to the community that each library has going on. So I've been really working hard at trying to establish new partnerships and bring new information to the community. But this workshop is basically meant for those people to for the community to take advantages of the services that the library has to offer, all for free. Everything is free, down to Simply E. Culture Pass is a new service that was implemented where it allows you access to over 30 cultural institutes. And with the holidays coming up around, we're going to be doing a health series. We're going to focus on 4 different topics. It's men's health, women's health, stress management, and then meditation as well. We got the men's health one on October 12th at 2 p.m., which is a Friday. We have the women's health program on the 26th, which is at 2 p.m. This is sponsored by Bronx Community Health Network. Then we also, it was something I spoke about to Jeremy, which is the driving simulator. We're a unique branch that has a driving simulator in the basement. And this is for adults and teens that want to practice getting comfortable behind the wheel before they actually go into to take the driver's exam. And what we do is we use the DMV manual to help them go through the chapters and kind of become familiar with the regulations and the rules for driving. So, thank you.
Thanks so much. Roger McCrossin?
Hi, good evening. My name is Roger McCrossin. I have a few different titles, but seriously, I'm with Trees New York, a citizen pruner. So we help street trees just basically stay healthy since the Parks Department is usually on a 15 to 20 year pruning schedule. It's to keep them healthy before they get diseased and cause problems for everyone in the neighborhood. I'm also a treasurer at PS 108. And I'm going to be having a project with the school, having the students take care of street trees. We're going to probably do some pruning in December, and then in the spring we're going to kind of spruce up the tree beds to help them. There was another issue I had. It was on Yates Avenue on the way to PS 108. There was a tree that had grown into a power line. So then they call that's basically an electrified tree, so you couldn't do any pruning on it. I made a service request, and they came out and they cut part of the tree, but it's actually caused more of a falling hazard now. So I just wanted to give you the service request and some pictures when they made it back in February of 2017, and then today.
Jeremy. Edith or Tasneem, which one? Edith? Okay.
The question, I'm not sure that you can answer me. This regarding the guards around the trees, all right? Have you heard anything about them being removed?
As far as being removed,
No, you do need a permit if you want to put a new one in.
Okay, because word has gotten to us somewhere on Pelham Parkway that the city is removing the wrought iron tree guard.
That's not true.
I'm a volunteer for Trees New York, which works in concert with the Parks Department. I'm also like a master composter that works with DSNY, composting, but, so I know something about the regulations of the tree pits, but as far as plans to remove them,
Okay,
I'm not
thank
privy to
you.
that.
okay, go ahead, Joe.
Am I on? Okay. Edith, on White Plains Road, we've been trying to get rid of those tree guards for the last 3 years. And we even had a grant to do that, which the Parks Department sort of lagged behind and then lost our grant, and we rediscovered the grant. Now, some of those tree guards, unfortunately, have been uprooted, so the roots have moved those tree guards up, making them hazardous. So that's why we're gonna remove, and we are removing, today they removed about 9 of them.
Yeah, but Joe, those are grates that you have on White Plains Road. I'm talking about the actual wrought iron tree guards around the tree, not grates.
Okay, we don't really have that in our area.
Okay,
Yeah, it's not in our area.
okay, thank you, Joe. Well, I don't know, I think that was the second.
No, that was that question. It's all right, God, forget about it, I'll see him after.
Well,
That's the second question.
all right.
Let it go. Let it go.
I think the board's okay with it. Okay, all right, all right. Thank you, Roger. Marcy Gross, new crime issue.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back after a long summer. Happy New Year, Lashana Tova, and hopefully we have a very easy winter. We do have a new crime. Captain, I called the police precinct several times. Within the past, it's about 11 days, I've been approached by people coming off the train with this comment. Hi, I was just released from prison. I need money. And they don't leave you alone, and they follow you. So knowing me, I don't back down, which is kind of maybe not so smart, but I called the police precinct for 2 to 3 hours, nobody picked up the phone. I called the NCO police, nobody picked up the phone. So we have issues, it's a big issue. This is a new one, I don't know where these people are coming from. I was approached 3 times in 11 days, right off the train stations. Riverdale and Pelham Parkway South. So it's not just the Pelham Parkway area, it's all over the Bronx. It's a big issue. So what can we do about this?
Okay, Commander?
All right, so, and I'm sure you're all aware, there's also a CBS2 news segment in regards to this issue. I spoke about this at the community council meeting, Tuesday. We are aware of the issue. We've been actively addressing the issue for quite some time. We actually were addressing it before we were receiving community complaints because we recognized it on our own. We've been doing extensive outreach with Bronx Works. I personally went out and visited these individuals, and I assessed the situation, and I actually did a count. So from my assessment, we have approximately 10 people out there, Pelham Parkway, White Plains Road. I spoke to them because they tend to congregate in groups. The day I spoke to them, there's probably about 7 or 8 of them. They all told me that they see Bronx Works almost every day. The Bronx Works is doing their part, going out and offering them services. So I asked them, so what's the issue? They said, we don't want what Bronx Works is offering. I assessed it. They feel comfortable here. They told me that. They feel safe. And I'm just being straight and transparent with you. And they set up in the community. I understand it's very unsightly. So my next option was enforcement. So we've been doing extensive enforcement in the area. You gotta understand, The enforcement takes place when officers make observations of offenses. The mere presence of them is not an offense. I can't enforce that. I can't make them move. There's no violations there. I have to observe a violation that I can enforce. I understand it's very frustrating for you, just as frustrating for me. So within the past month, we arrested 12 of them. We just arrested another individual the other day. I personally assisted in that one. So we are addressing the issue through enforcement. A lot of it's K2 related. They are smoking openly, K2, which is when we set up and we do observations and we see that they are smoking K2, we make the arrest as a misdemeanor offense. The other one was aggressive panhandling on White Plains Road. So out of the 13 arrests we made, 11 were for K2, 1 was for the aggressive panhandling, the one that I assisted in was for a warrant. These individuals, I would say approximately maybe out of the 10, 2 are from the area that are down and out and now are homeless or out in the street. They have various issues, mental health, drug issues, but the majority of them are from the South Bronx. A couple of them were from Lower Manhattan, and there was a couple from Jersey.
That's great.
So we're looking into the K2 issue. How are they getting their K2? We do extensive debriefings of every prisoner that comes into the command. That's not only the homeless, but every prisoner that comes into the command, because I'm trying to ascertain where this K2 is coming from. All the information I'm getting, it's north of the command on White Plains Road, outside the command, outside of the 4-9. I narrowed it down to a specific area. I'm being told it's out in the street. I'm working in conjunction with 4-7, narcotics, and the Sheriff's Department to ascertain where the source of the K2 is coming from. But that's a side issue that, we're trying to address that K2 problem. We're going to continue doing our outreach. We're going to continue doing our enforcement. You got my word on that. I'll not back down. I let it be known to the officers that it's not a condition that we're going to turn a blind eye to, and they haven't. They've been very proactive. I'm proud of them. Doing very well. And on the flip side, we're also working with the Parks Department. I've been communicating with the Parks Department. I've had meetings with the Parks Department and Bronx Works. Every time we see a condition, especially in the parks, when we're seeing large garbage or cardboard boxes or the straws associated to the K2, we're doing cleanups. We've had 5 cleanups within the past month. So the police department is basically liaison, working in conjunction with the Parks Department. When we see debris associated to these individuals, we immediately call them, and the Parks Department has been great, and they've done these cleanups. It's an ongoing process, like any other issues in a community, whether it's speeding, whether it's crime, or whether it's a homeless issue. Enforcement is not going to be the sole solution to the problem. It's got to be a multifaceted approach to this. It's very complex. Our hands are tied in a lot of ways. The mere fact of begging for money is not unlawful. Aggressive panhandling and threats is unlawful. If you're near a bank, it's unlawful, but it's got to be observed by a police officer, so it's very complex. I've done plainclothes operations. I actually use plainclothes officers to address this problem. Majority of the time, plainclothes officers are utilized for violent crimes, but this is such a problematic condition in the command. I'm addressing it this way so we can make those observations and make the arrest for the aggressive panhandling or near the banks. So I have a plan. I think you've probably seen some progress. I said it at the community council meeting on Tuesday that the segment on CBS 2 did not cause us to take action for this problem. We've been taking action for this problem, and we've been addressing it, and we will continue to address it. And I assure you that the 409 precinct is going to solve this issue with other agencies. I mean, we can't do it alone. But you gotta understand, I can educate you on what can be done, what can't be done. Individuals lying in the park on a cardboard box is not unlawful. I know you don't like to hear that, but it's not unlawful. We talked about this and try to put it in perspective. If you were laying out in Pelham Parkway on a beach towel, and I came up and summoned you for that,
No,
you'd
that's
probably be
different.
like,
Mm-mm.
you'd probably flip out at me. Well, they don't use beach towels, they use cardboard boxes. I get it, they litter and they have debris all around them.
When they smell.
But I have to observe them throwing that litter down and the debris. So I'm restricted on what I can do, and I'm never gonna tell my officers to do anything that's unlawful, that would cause them, be civilly or even criminally, liable. So you gotta work with me, you gotta understand the laws. I'll try to, educate you as best I can, and so we get a good understanding. It's very, very, very complex issue.
Captain, these people are running out of the train station at 5 o'clock in the morning. They're not the homeless. They're running out and demanding money. And the police, they're not answering the phones. I called for hours. No one answered the
No,
phone.
that's an issue that's an issue. You know, Marcy, you probably have one of the most extensive contacts in the police department. We're very, very receptive to you, especially. You have direct contacts with me, every NCO officers, community affairs officers. You probably get the most response out of everybody. I'm surprised you're standing up here. But anyway, that being said, I'm just being straight with you. That being said, I'm sorry that you called, and we're wrong for not answering the phone and the TS operator, and if that's where you were calling.
Yeah.
And I'll address the officers, the NCO boy, because that's who you're communicating with, and ask them why they didn't answer your phone call, because that's upsetting to me.
The travel impairs, these drug addicts,
Yeah.
or whatever they are,
Yeah.
they say they're
Yeah.
from the, from prison,
Yeah.
and then they split up. But they don't leave until they try to get money out of you.
Right.
So, which is not
That's
happening.
that's unlawful, and I'll definitely address that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Joe?
Amanda, thank you and the 49th precinct for your efforts. We appreciate that. Over here.
I was hearing voices.
It's two-sided, right? We have to have a little bit of compassion, understand what's going on with these individuals, they're sick. And I think we all know that, right? Everybody here has a home, they don't, we get it. This is in our community, I know we don't like it, it's unsightly. Thank you for your efforts. We want to try to help them, but they're refusing help first and foremost. And that's, what are you gonna do about that, right? You can't do anything about that. So, I know I jog and run up and down Pelham Parkway all the time and I see them. And we don't want to encourage them, but it sounds like you have two problems, right? You got problems with guys that are coming off the train saying that they're from prison and they just got out of prison and want money, and then there's these guys that are sleeping on Pelham Parkway, because I see them. So what do you think is gonna happen? I know you don't have a crystal ball, but it's gonna start getting cold out.
So, again, I've personally talked to these individuals. From my assessment, a large majority of them are not actually homeless. I think they have a place. I think they're drug users, which makes them more of my problem. So, that being said, I don't think you're gonna see them out and about much longer, but I'm not waiting on that. I'm not waiting on the weather to correct the problem. I'm gonna continue doing what we're doing. The ones you're gonna see are probably gonna move into a bank if they're truly in fact homeless. They'll probably go into these ATM vestibules, and that's an easy one for us because we already have the banks on board as far as being complainants, because we need complainants when we have these trespass violations. So that's what we're gonna move into. Sometimes I just was up in Eastchester Houses about 20 minutes ago, I was speaking to them. They have a homeless issue up there as well, and people are sleeping in the hallways and in the stairwells. So they're gonna go try to find the best place to lay their heads. I need the community to alert us, especially the NCOs, on where they're at, so we can perform outreach and make sure that they're not trespassing in these buildings. And if they are, we're just gonna have to do the enforcement and make arrests. So the plan is community working with us, helping us identify where the problems are, where these individuals are. If you can tip us off while in violation or a crime is taking place, we can run out there and try to address it. And just, you know, we gotta work together. That's how we're gonna have to solve this problem. But I think it's gonna alleviate itself with the cold weather.
Were you finished?
I was just gonna say, for the other crimes that you solved that I can't really repeat, the things that I do call you about every week, I do, and I thank you for everything and responding to me on those issues. Thank you very much, because you really don't know how much safer we are when they respond to what I see and say. So I'm encouraging everybody here not just to wait on somebody like me, but all of you have to pick up the telephone, and if you see a crime in action, it can't just be Marcy, it's gotta be everybody here. Thank you very much, Catherine.
All right, so we'll finish with Gene, then we'll go back to the captain if he has some, or the commander if he has something else. So last gallery session speaker, Gene DeFrancis.
And on that note, real quick, if we want that to be resolved, we really need to look at Bronx Psych at Waters Place, because they're still not getting the state police officers that we requested here at this forum and at several other forums. They need their police officers, so our resources, our police officers, in the middle of the night don't have to race over there to attend to their problems, and they can take care of their own problems, and our police officers can take care of ours. Another thing that I brought up about a year or two ago was the grading system from the health department for our restaurants. Our small business restaurants are getting extorted at this point. If you go to a street vendor, if you go to a deli that cooks food, they don't have to go through the same intimidation, humiliation that our small businesses have to go through on a periodic basis, where they come in authoritatively and they're at this point in the realm of the absurd, because they're fining the merchants if they have bruised peppers in the refrigerator, or if they don't label their food properly, even though it's under the right temperature and everything like that. So we need a fair balance. I brought this up at the community board before. I'm hoping the elected officials are listening, and we can actually do something about it. Either the street vendors need to be graded and the delis need to be graded, or we need to stop this process. That's not saying we need to stop doing inspections. We need to do inspections. If they're in street violation, shut them down. That's still possible, but at this point, it's just a money scam, because you can go to the courts, buy your A for a couple of $1,000s with a good lawyer, so we're not really being protected, and we're not really being looked after. It's more about raising money. Paying attention to Community Board 10 and their animal shelter issue. If Community Board 10 in Co-op City doesn't want the shelter, we have city-owned location. Did you put up the 30 minutes?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, you did.
30
That
seconds.
will be
So-
more than happy to look into for Allison.
Thank you. Any questions for Gene?
I have,
For Gene?
well, yeah, I wanna make
Okay.
a statement.
Okay, go ahead. It's on now.
Is it on now?
Yes.
Gene, according to your statement with Bronx Psych, and I think Captain Alps will agree, they've been meeting with the 49th precinct. They've been trying to work out some issues and ways in which to, have the state police do more, have the Mahadas or the mental health therapy aides do more to alleviate any problems before they call 911. And I just want to make, that known. They're not sitting on their backside, because when I attend a meeting, I bring it up. And they just, the other day, they told me that they just had a meeting a little while ago, so that's one issue. So before,
Well, it's not the hospital's fault per se, it's the state's not giving the funding for them to, because is it working? I mean, have the calls gone down dramatically?
I think they've gone down a little bit according to what I was told.
Very little bit.
It's not.
Inspector, can you tell us what the number is annually?
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it has improved. We're pushing back more. I have my supervisors on patrol reaching out to them to handle some of these jobs, because it was becoming like 3 or 4 jobs every tour that we were handling there. Easy, and it gets resource intensive, because sometimes we had to bring them into the hospitals and we got to sit them at the hospitals until they get admitted. So it was a problem. It is getting better. They're very receptive. So I just hope it improves. A lot of it has to do with educating the people that work at the facilities to make sure that they call their police first and not us.
Right, and the other thing is that some people think that the message on clinic is part of Bronx Psych. It is not part of Bronx Psych. Montefiore owns the building, but it's on Bronx Psych property. So, it's just something that people should be aware of. They're always blaming everything on the patients of Bronx Psych when it isn't. I mean, and we're trying to really,
That's why we gotta keep
improve,
bringing
and
it
I've
up.
been on their case.
Yeah, so we're gonna keep addressing it until it's a lot better.
Okay, so that would close the gallery. I don't know if the commander, you had anything else you needed or wanted to know?
Yes.
If you want. But before I give it back to him, I saw 2 hands up when he was speaking. Okay, in this order, I saw Pat Charles, then Edith, and then Sandy, you're done?
I'm done for now.
You're done for now. Okay, that's, anyone else
That means
have their
she's
hand
not
up that I
done.
missed? Okay, I'll give it over to the commander and then we'll take it to Pat and then Edith.
So I'll just give you a quick overview on how we're doing with index crimes in the command. Year to date, we're down 7% in index crimes. We have 64 less index crimes this year as opposed to last year. We're down in every 7 major or 7 index crimes except for murders, rapes, and felony assaults. Our felony assaults, our increase for the year is plus 25 versus last year. 21 of those 25s are domestic violence related. We do have now 6 murders. We had a shooting homicide at 1450 East Gun Hill on Monday the 24th at 23:30 hours. An individual who lives up in a 4-7, a 46-year-old male, got into a dispute with another male who was identified and wanted for this homicide. His name is Tony Clark. He's a 4-5 resident, Co-op City. They get in a dispute inside the bodega, and then shots are fired, and this individual is shot in the chest, taken to Jacoby, and he's pronounced as Jacoby. So that was the 6th homicide of the year. It was a spontaneous dispute. It wasn't gang related or narcotics related. It was just chance encounter that turned violent. Last year we had 3 homicides for the entire year, so we're gonna lose homicides or murders for the year. If you go back 5 years, there was, 2008 and 2009 we had 7 homicides. 2010 we had 9. 2012 we had 8. 2014 and 15 we had 6. 3 was last year. When you look at the index crimes, we're at a 10-year low for shootings. We have 6 shootings per year. When you look at grand larceny autos, we're at 10-year lows. When you look at robberies, we're at our 2nd lowest number in 10 years. In 2014, we had 123, when this year we're at 128. When you look at burglaries, we're at a 10-year low. Residential burgs alone are down 23.9%. Grand larcenies, we're at a 4-year low, and we're having our biggest decrease in grand larcenies this year. Elderly crimes are down. All of 4 housing developments has a decrease in 7 majors reported. Our park crimes have decreased 14.3%. We have 6 total index crimes in a park this year. The NCO program seems to be running very well. It seems like it's a model program in the rest of the city. You may have seen NYPD Internet focused on Sector Adam and Officer Varela and Officer Canova. They did a segment on them because it's working very well, the program itself, and a lot of that has to do with the community involvement and community support and interaction with Officer Varela and Canova. And they did a segment on Morris Park, and it really showed well for this command, the community, and the NCO program as a whole. So I'm really proud of that. the community. I'm proud of the community and again, the officers in the command. I talked about the body cameras, they're doing very well. We had them introduced in the command in July. The officers really embraced them. They're really captured some really critical incidents where the officers behaved either appropriate or heroically. 2 incidences where officers were actually recorded saving the lives of individuals. And just, it's really been a great introduction to the police department. I mean, I know there's some debate back and forth, but our officers here in the Fort Howard Police Department. We have 9 additional officers from last year, so we have more officers on patrol. With the NCO program, that pushed a lot more officers out in the street. Plus, we have 9 additional total in the command, so we have a lot more officers in patrol. So with the crime numbers hitting 10-year lows, the introduction to the NCO program and the community working even closer with us, I think things are going very well here. I'm excited the way it's going, and I can't wait to see the final numbers at the end of the year. These numbers are real, and these are real victims, and that's 64 less victims from last year, so I'm proud of that. The officers, and the bottom line, I've said it since I've been here, it's the community working with us, so we're doing great.
Thank you, Commander. Before I turn over to Pat, just a reminder, we should announce that at the very beginning. Walgreens is here to do flu shots. They're doing flu shots until 8 p.m., so you have 20 minutes. If you want to get your flu shot, please run over there now. Pat Charles.
Thank you. We appreciate the officers that are doing very well in other sectors. However, in East Chester Gardens and my area, my specific area, closest to work, we're having problems. And I do give thanks to our NCOs, but when they're off duty and we're waiting for the next tour to come in, we have no communication with them. So if there is an issue, when we call them, I text them, I don't want to really disturb them because they have families as well. So we do take in consideration of their family time that they have to do with them. But when it comes to certain issues after hours, we're having a problem with that. So the communication is lost. I do reach out to them and they say that when they send